Hello everyone, welcome back to another session. For this week, we're going to deal with another part of Excel, which is lecture note 6, conditional formatting. Now, even if you don't know anything about this, you still be able to do calculation in Excel, but it's very useful to provide some coloring and formatting on the Excels that we have. Now, what does conditional formatting mean? Formatting, part of formatting, we already know what does it means. When we highlight something, color it, make it bold, italic, give border, those we call them formatting. But those formatting that we done it in Excel, we use them like randomly. We just give them color like this. But when it comes to conditional, it means that based on a condition, then the cell is going to be formatted. This is called conditional formatting. Now, it's very useful for some purposes in working Excel. Now, let's say that to explain what do I have it here. Now, in civil engineering, we always do calculation, and within those calculation, always we have check. We have always control or checkpoints that we have to control our results before continuing. Now, let's say in one of the calculation that we have it in here, we need to be sure that A is smaller than H before continuing further. Now, while we're calculating, if you have a lot of calculation, how would you be able, let's say that you have a lot of calculation. This is very simple, but whenever we're explaining things in Excel, we expect from you to have a lot of calculation within the sheet. So if you calculate A, and you always have to manually check to see that is A is smaller than H here. No, it's 350, this is bigger than, so it's not possible. I have to change the input. Let's say I have to make this one 250. Well, you realize that the color changed, yes? Now this is we call conditional formatting. I don't need to even check. Why? Because automatically the color became green. Now green for me, you know, when you're driving car, green means go. So it's just basically give me an indication that the things is okay, continue. But red will let me stop. Tell me that stop, there's something wrong. So imagine here, there's a function in here. I wrote the function here. There's the function. It's the function, but I didn't give it coloring. I didn't give the formatting by myself. I didn't say that, okay, let it be red like this. No, this is not like this. Why? Because I don't know when it will be red, when it will be green. So I have a condition here. When A is smaller than H, it's going to turn green. So I know that the calculation is correct. I'll continue for the next step. So imagine if you have a lot of calculation and they're always checks. It is recommended to use conditional formatting to highlight those cells with color, with icon that are not correct. Maybe they're not correct according to condition, so you have to pay attention to the results and then interpret the results and then change them, whatever you have to do. This is very useful for those kind of calculation, especially when you have design procedures or like analysis procedures. A lot of things that you can do in Excel, data analysis, traffic analysis, those things are useful when you're controlling. Remember, use Excel in daily life. As civil engineer, use Excel in daily life. So you have to know that those things are useful for you. So we're going to teach you how to do those things, maybe on a simple example, but remember, the example that I'm explaining to you, maybe they are easy to understand. Why? Because I cannot tell you in civil engineering what does AS means, AS minimum. There's a lot of information that going on. You will learn them by yourself from the other courses. But remember, when you're using Excel, you can always do these things when you understand the basics. Now, conditional formatting that we have it, we will cover lots of things there. So I highlighted the one that we're covering them. Not everything will be covered. So some part that I did it like this for each list. For example, those will be covered in greater than, less than, equal to, between. Then in the second, we're going to come back to these things. In the second one, we're covering top 10 or above average, below average. When it comes to above average, below average, I'm going to explain something that why you shall not ask your teacher for the grading to increase your grades. I'm going to tell you why, what's happening when it comes to above average. Then we're going to cover something, data bars. We're going to use this one. By the way, when I'm explaining Excel, I explain that it is the only program that is available for civil engineering, but indeed is not. That's why I'm going to explain something that maybe you never use Excel for those purposes, but it's good to know that you can use Excel for those purposes. Now, data bars can represent percentage of work done in a project. So if you have activities, I'm going to show it to you how we can tell, for example, it's going to give an indication that how much work has been done. It's a useful technique that we can use it. Even I told you, even if you don't know anything about conditional formatting, you're fine. You can use Excel perfectly. The icon sets, we're going to cover them as well. Those sometimes we're using for traffic. Is to indicate the because if you have a volume calculation for the traffic, straight, left, right, you can use those things basically if you want it, or sometimes to indicate things are wrong or give indication that there is something has to be checked. We can use some of those icons, will be nice. So we will be covering them with examples. So we start with example 1. I'm going to come back to the one that I didn't there, but I'll start with example 1 to explain what do we have it. So for the example I have it here, some of them are related to civil engineering, some of them not. General, to explain the basics behind conditional formatting. It doesn't matter, maybe you're not using Excel or civil engineering, you may use work somewhere in the field, somewhere in the office, but they use Excel for some purposes. I had some student, they told me that they work in the summer by knowing Excel. I said that I'm good for you that you use the knowledge and you outside for working. So remember, you can use Excel for somewhere else as well. Now let's say I have a table like this. As an instructor, we use Excel a lot, and this is one of the things that I can use it for myself. Now I have a table like this. I'm teaching some courses and I have a lot of students. Imagine I have 100, 200 students. This semester I have 200 students. So if I want to know, for example, information easily, I always use coloring. The coloring is conditional coloring, so that Excel is going to tell me that what's happening within the table. So for those reasons, we're going to explain something easily to understand, then we're going to go further, relate things to civil engineering. Now for this purpose, I have the data written in the Excel, so I'm going to start question by questions and highlight them together to see what do we have there. Now the table I have it here consists of some students' name, course, and their grades within the course that they have it. Now the questions we have it here, it says that highlight math 102 grades, so math 102 grades with something if they are greater than 60. So I want to know, for example, how many students they got above 60. I can do it manually, yes. For example, this question I can do it. There is one here, this is not. So one student is above 60. Imagine if I have 100. I have to check one by one, but with eyes, if it is colored, I can simply spot who got even above 60. Now, let's start with conditional formatting. Where does the conditional formatting located? It is here within Home ribbon, Style tabs, you have conditional formatting. You click on it, it's going to open, and within there you have different rules. So each of them you have it, open it, the list will be open and you have different rules to cover them. Now, in order to do conditional formatting, we follow 3 steps. 1, data selection. Second will be rule selection. Third will be applying condition. Now, 3 easy steps. If you know what you're doing, you will never make mistakes in conditional formatting. Now, 3 steps. Those are the steps that we're doing here. Now, what do you expect from steps? Now, from each question or from the things that you have to do it, you need at least 4 information, or 3 information generally, or 4 information you need them. 1. First, you must know which type of conditional formatting you're using it here. Is it you're highlighting a top 10, or you're highlighting with top 10, or you want to use data bar, color scale, or icon set? Which one are you going to use? It's the first thing you must know. So for example, he said highlight. So highlighting basically will be the first one. Sometimes highlighting go for the second one as well. I'm going to see it. It's a highlight. So this is the first information given to me, which is the type of conditional formatting I'm using it. The second information will be the data. Which data are you going to apply this condition? Now it's a Math 102 grade. So I know those are the data I have it. This is the second thing that I have to Math 102 grade. So it's basically the second one. Let me use different coloring. There's the second one. Second data I'm expecting it. Third, it's what type of condition formatting, what type of formatting you want. What do you want to happen if the condition is true? You want it to be green fill with dark green text. This is the third, which is the formatting. The fourth, it is the rule, greater than 60. So basically I need 4 information from that person, or from the, let's use different color. So 4 information here required to do conditional formatting. Let's highlight them. One, it's the conditional formatting type. One will be the data. One will be the formatting. I'm gonna write them down. One will be the rule. So we have 4 basically things. First, the type of conditional formatting. The type I have it. The data that I have it here. The data. Then I need the conditions, the formatting basically. Sorry, the formatting. The formatting. Then I need the rule. I need the rule. So 4 information can be gathered from, or when you're doing it, you know what you're doing. So you have those 4 things. But when I give it to you, always 4 information will be given to you. 4 will be given. Let's read the second one. Highlight, because I know the type. Chemistry and, or the chemistry and CVLE102. So there's the data. With red text, it's the formatting. Smaller than 50 is the rule. Highlight cells. Highlight again the type. Cells means all of them. So this is the data. All of the cells that are blank. Blanks are the rule. That are blanks. With the yellow, it's the formatting. The last one, highlight math. Again, highlight math is the data between 30-60. So this is the rule, and this will light rate something. So I know that it is the formatting. So I have everything from this, so I can continue. First, we say select data. So I'm going to start with the first one, Math 102 grade. Select data. I'm going to go to conditional formatting. So it's going to rule selection. The rule selection is greater than 60. By the way, rule selection and the highlight. So the highlight and the rule selection are together. Because I'm within the highlight, then I'm going to go for greater than. Look, greater than 60, it's going to go for the apply condition, the last one. So greater than, I'm going to choose greater than here. Then something like this will open. It says that format cells that are greater than, I need to be greater than 60, isn't it? Greater than 60. And then the rule, or the formatting I have it is what? Green fill with dark green text. By the way, I'm gonna just only bring those to you. From the exam perspective, I'm only giving you those. I'm not gonna give you custom formatting. Custom formatting is for you. You can do whatever you want. Go there and you can give font, different border, fill, anything that you want. You can do it by yourself. Anything that for example, it's appearing here, the border, I can do it like this one, the fill, the font to be italic, bold. It's up to me. So I can manage those whatever. It is limited, but you'll be able to do. I see I'm even using coloring for the side of it. It's going to be something like this. The fill, let me use this way. The pattern. So press OK. This is custom. Look, I made it like this. So between me and you, I'm gonna give you from the list. But if you want for yourself, you can go and do custom, because this is limited. You cannot have everything. This is custom format. You can do rest. So green fill with dark green text is here. I can press OK. Now you see that 96 is highlighted. Now this is Thomas hasn't done exam. So if Thomas did exam and got 70, as soon as I enter the value, the condition is automatically running here. It's going to change the color for me to what? To the green that I have it here. So any students, for example, this is by mistake, this is 65. So as soon as I know that 3 students, for example, directly I can get the names who got above, greater than 60, above 60. This is what we call conditional formatting. Now, if you made mistakes, at the end of this session, I'm gonna show to you how we'll be able to manage those things. But first, we're gonna just assume that we're not making mistakes. Everything goes smoothly. Now I'm gonna go for the second one. It's a highlight two courses with red text if they are smaller than 50. So the course, I'm gonna first thing is selecting data. It is this part here. I'm gonna select them. Now if you want to select the other one, you have to use Control button on your keyboard. So hold the Control and select the other column there. To selection, first select data, then have smaller than 50 is within highlight, smaller than 50, less than, it's going to be smaller than, less than, we have it here. Then we say less than 50 here, type 50, and then we're going to choose this one to be red text. Press OK. Now you realize that red text is not clear as much, but this is what is asked here, so I'll keep it in this way. You realize that some of them are red text because they're below 50. Anything above 50, there's going to be normal, but if it's below 50, there will be red text for this and this part here. They're very, very easy to do conditional formatting. Some of them need some time to play around to change the things. Now go for the third one. Highlight cells that are blanks with yellow, fill with dark yellow text. Now blanks, as I told you before, they have a meaning. Each blank in a table has a meaning. Pardon me. If you're working on site, let's imagine that you are checking the inventory for the material that you have. You have brick, gypsum, steel, concrete, plastic, pipes. You have a lot of materials within the storage. Now you are a civil engineer on the site. You have to always keep tracking of the material. Why? Because if there is no material, who is going to work, or what would you be doing? So you have to have tracking for those things. You're supposed to tell, for example, the contractor, we don't have enough material, please order. So how do you know these things? You always set a rule for yourself within the list that you have. And while working on the field, you always update the things. For example, today they used a lot of, for example, they used 1,000 bricks. So you just come back to Excel and you edit the things you make it, for example, minus 1,000. So today they work this much. This will be our work. If you're working on the side, you always update. If you're working with a good company, by the way, some of them, they don't do these things. When you're working with the contractors, some places, they don't care about these things. But if you want to work somewhere, really, for example, following the things, they always ask the engineer weekly, give them weekly report. For example, weekly report, how many material have you used within this week? What kind of activity have you done it? So those information, you can always have rule for them to know that if they are below something, you can have them. Now blank in those conditions, let's say a new material required, within your list is blank. Maybe you are the one who typing, maybe someone else is responsible. By the way, this Excel, when you're working with places, it will be shared with different peoples. That's how we use Excel or the other programs. Other people can access the same sheets. You can open it, the other one can open it. I am responsible for taking information, someone responsible for inputting information. So let's say that you're an engineer and one of the places is empty. Now imagine a lot of things that you have it. You cannot spot the empty spaces. There is one here, there is one here. By eyes, well, there is a data there, you cannot spot them easily. So if this is empty, maybe you ordered but it hasn't come, so you have to call. For example, whoever the guy is, the Oliver, why is this data hasn't been inputted there? Hasn't come the material. So why? I just simply can spot it. But with eyes, remember, I'm not saying you cannot do it, but as I'm saying that our eyes prefer color rather than data. So I want to highlight within the data I have it to see if there is any blank. The blank here for me with this table means, let's say, makeup exam. They didn't do the exam. So I know who, for example, who has makeup exam with each courses. If there's any blank, it can simply highlight it for me. So I can go and do this one. Remember, I cannot bring those information for you, right? Because you may work anyway, you may not have, those things may not ever happen to you, but if happens, you'll be able to use those techniques to make your life easier. That's what we use programs, remember. We use program to make our life easier, but if not, we still can do things. We created, or basically not we, I mean human created computer, but computer became much more clever or better in calculation than humans. So we're gonna go for conditional formatting here. Now blank, it's somewhere here we call it equal to blank. So how I'm going to say equal to blank here. Now the mistake, we're gonna see it from student. Now let's say first it's a yellow fill with yellow dark, so I'm gonna go yellow fill with yellow dark. This is the formatting. Now for equal to what? Blank. 0, it is gonna highlight the blank, but it is not blank. Why? Let's press OK. Let's say if a student got 0, also will be the same color. Does this guy has to do exam? No. Charlie did the exam, but he got 0. He attended. He doesn't have access to makeup. But those two guys, look, easily I can spot them. Thomas in this one and Jack in this one has makeup, but this one does not have. So that one I made it is wrong. So I'm Control Z. So I have to find another way. So in the highlight equal to, I cannot say 0. 0, it's not blank, because 0 has a meaning. Remember, it's a data. Blank, there is no data. So how do you write blank? You simply write equal and you use quotation mark, double quotation mark, open it, and double quotation mark, close it. This means blank, nothing between them. That's what does it means. Nothing between them. It means blank. So you say equal, it must be in this way, equal. With this, it does not work. You have to say equal to, quotation mark open, quotation mark close. That means it is, you mean blank cells. Press OK. Anyone that does not have value, but now 0 is not gonna be 0, it is not blank. So wherever does not have exam, you can simply spot them. Those are mean something. So by the way, what we do, we always use those coloring to give indication. Now we use those coloring, I use those coloring to give indication. Oh, this is supposed to be, sorry, it's supposed to be green something, if I can find this one easily from here. No, this should be this one, sorry. So I'm gonna give this one above 60. So I know this, at least I will do some coloring scheme for myself to know what does it means, because if you are the one using it, you always have to have something to yourself. This is makeup, this is something like this. Yeah, within here we are reading right now, we know what we're doing, but remember, when you're doing it to have it and people to be use it, you have to use some coloring here. The same coloring you put it here, and you will just write beside them what does it mean, what does this means. Now this is how we do blank. The last one we have here, highlight math 205 grade, that lies between 30 and 60. Now this, let me just relate it to civil engineering. This is useful when you're working on the field again, when you have activities. Activities basically depends on the date. Now let's say that while you're working, you have a project. If you are in a project management team, they tell you that, for example, we will start foundation, which is the base of the building, let's say on 15th of May. Then on 16th we have this one, on 17th we have this one. Then it's gonna start. From 15th it's gonna start till, let's say, till August. The project is continuous. Now each week, when you start from the beginning, which is Monday, till Saturday or Sunday, whatever, Saturday and Friday, whatever will be the working period, you need to know how many activities you have it to be done within that day, within that week. So when you open Excel, it is nice to Excel to highlight those activities that must be done within the week. So we call them between. For example, this I'm using number here, but it can be used with date. I believe I'm going to show you something for this purpose as well. How are we going to do this one? I'm going to bring something in a table that is those activities. Where does it start? So we're going to use this between to see that how can we use this technique for outside. I will not make you responsible for the date, but it's good to know as well how to deal with dates here. So it will just say that, okay, today's dates, the end of the day, week's date. So Excel is going to highlight those activities that must be done between those, or between the two dates that we have, or within the week. So you know that those must be done. So you're going to only focus on those part of the work. So let's say, how does we do this one? We're going to go to, how do we do this? We're going to go to selecting the data. We have math 205. This is the data, we have it here. You can apply multi-condition over things. Remember, if there is a lot of two condition over here, it's okay. Each condition works the way it is. But if they are colliding, then will be problem. If they're colliding, there will be problem. I'm going to explain this one. So I'm going to go to here. Between is highlight here. Between. So it tells you between what you want. Remember, between the two values are included. So it's basically greater equal to 30, smaller equal to 60. So it's greater than equal to 30, smaller equal than 60 will be included. Say light rate something, this is what I want. So if I type this on 30, it will be included there. If I change this one to 60, it's going to be highlighted. Why? Because it's between 30 and 60. 30 and 60 will be included within the date that we have. Now this is pretty much how to apply conditional formatting easily. But let's say that I have a question. Now I'm gonna do this one, bring it here. I'll say this is to be CD, to be E. Now highlight, let's say 101. CVLE. So I'm gonna ask something. CVLE 101 grades with green dark if they are greater than or equal to 50. Now I've changed the rule greater than equal to. Yes, I know the data is here. I can select the data, going for the rule, highlight, checking for greater than equal to. I have greater than, I have less than, between, equal to, but I don't have greater than. So I told you we can use multi-condition. So I can apply greater than, then I can apply equal to, then I can get greater than equal to. This is one way of solving it. So I can apply greater than. In the greater than, I will say greater than 50 with the green things. But 50 is not included. Why? Because it's greater than. Then the data is selected. I will go back again. I will apply equal to 50, the same coloring, so that 50 also will be included with the data. So if I type 50, will be highlighted the same because it's included. So I applied two rules in order to do this one. But there is an easier way to do it. Now let me see what the other way that. Let me do this one here. Highlight math 102 grade that are not between. Let's say that are not between 30 and 60. They're supposed to be not between them. Let's say I'm gonna use something yellow for that part. Well, now what do I do here? There are a lot of conditions happening. Yes, you may not be lucky to have them within here, and I don't have between. It's between. I don't have not between. So how do you manage this one not between? You can do it. Yes, you can apply one greater than, one less than for 30, for 60. It can be done. So always you can use those things to do it. But let's say I'm gonna teach you something else. We're going to teach you something else, and that will be useful for lots of things. Now, with a lot of formatting here, how do I know how many format do I have here? How do I know what they are? How do I change them? How do I delete them? Those type of question, all of them lies within the part which we have it here. Clear rule is to delete the conditions. There is basically two ways. You can select for the table, but those are by default, they're activated. Select cells or entire sheet. Entire sheet is going to delete everything within here, whatever we done. If I just select this one, but it's going to delete whatever. If I go for clear rule for selected cell, it's going to delete everything for those cells. So whatever the condition we have it over here will be deleted. So if I want to delete a specific rule, not everything. So how can I do this one? If you want to delete, clear everything, you can just simply clear entire sheets. It's going to delete everything. Control Z, bring them back. But if I want to go for specific things, I will go for manage rule. And here it will teach you how to edit things easily and delete. Basically, so we come here. When you open, maybe sometime you're going to see something, you're not going to see something. Open this one. Make sure it's for this worksheet, the one that you currently active, not the other sheets. Then you're going to see all the rules. I have them here. All the rules that we applied them, they will be here. Now, the first one, cell value equal to 50. Where is it? I8, I14. It means I didn't eat. I8 and I14. So it's basically I8 to I14. I didn't eat I14. Sounds like this. So it's basically, I can see where is it. This one, the same thing. Cell between 30 and this one is K8 to K14. K8 to K14. So I know it. Cell value equal to, there's two, yes? I have two. But basically this is for this one, D6. What is it? I don't need it. I can just simply delete it. This was somewhere here. Now this one, cell value equal to blank for G8 till K14. This is G8 till K14 for whole the table. Then I have this one smaller, I have the other one greater, so I can see and read the things easily here. I can delete them and I can edit them. Now, let's say how can I editing, I'm going to show you something. For each type of rule, editing is going to give you different things. So it's not going to be, it's unique. I'm going to click on this one and type edit. I'm going to show you something which is important here. Now, within this part here, we have cell value greater than. If I open this one, I have things that I didn't have them in the first time. Now you can see that there is not between two, yes, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So I can simply apply the rule. For example, for this one, greater than or equal to 50, I can apply greater than 50, then come here, let's say that, cancel it. For this part here, yes, I don't need this one, I don't need equal to. This is greater than 50, yes, I want to add equal to, so I'll click on it, edit rule, greater than equal to, press OK, you realize it became greater than equal to 50. So two rule in one rule, two inside one, I can do it. And some of them, which we said the last one, not equal to, where is it? I will apply between, let's say for this condition, for this one, which is math 205 here, I'm going to apply the condition which is between. I'm going to use the yellow things, but I know there's something wrong, yes? Look, they will overlap. There's something wrong there. So I have to go back to manage rule there. Then I know which one is it. I'm going to select this one, worksheet. Since this is cell between this, I'm going to edit this one. I'm going to say not between two. Let's say 30 and 60. Not between those two. So again, it's going to highlight the rest of the others that they are not between. The one between, there will be something, not between will be different color. If I change this one to make it 59, it will lies between one of them. I make it, for example, 29 here. It lies between one of the rules we have it there. So whenever type something, it's in the two condition there, one of them between two, one of them not between two, so it's gonna do the things there. Remember, some of them you don't have them there. You apply a condition, then you go there and change within the edit type. So whatever you have it there, you can simply delete them. So we're gonna go to manage rule. If I want to delete for the select, this is selection, just go for all, we're gonna see everything. I'm gonna delete the one for the blank. I just simply select and delete it, apply. You're gonna see that for the deleted. Manage rule, double check again. This is here, delete, press OK. you realize that I delete the one for the blank cell I have it there. So I can do these things within manage rules. We're going to continue some other examples that we have it. So enough for this session. Remember the steps that we have it, the 3 steps of applying it, then the 4 information that are required to apply conditional formatting. Thanks for watching.